Hello, Night Nation. Proud to let you know that the Sons of UCF podcast is presented by the law firm of Gordon and Partners. Since 1993, Gordon and Partners have been dedicated to the pursuit of justice for those who have been wrongfully injured at no fault of their own. It's important that you get legal advice from somebody you trust. So contact UCF alum Michael Hoffman directly if you have any legal needs or questions. Visit their website at www.fortheinjured.com or text 407-913-5350 to speak directly to Michael. Don't trust just anybody. Trust the best. And trust a fellow knight. Gordon and Partners. For the injured.
This is the Sons of UCF, the number one place for UCF sports. With your distinguished hosts, Adam.
Let's all get together and see who can solve the Wordle the fastest.
And Mike.
You know, last year I think I said about 30 people in the UCF Sons of UCF group. Let's try to double that. Let's try to get 50.
Now, here are the guys.
All right, we are back. Episode 183 of the Sons of UCF, brought to you by Gordon and Partners. My name is Adam, and as always, UCF Mike is with me for another week. Mike, we took last week off, so you should be recharged, refreshed, and ready to roll, my friend.
That I am. I even hit you guys with a couple top 5 lists to close out the live show on Thursday. And now I'm ready for this one. We got a very good interview this week and some pretty hot news all around campus, so I'm ready to attack it.
Wow. Okay, I don't know what the hot news is, so hopefully you're gonna share that with me. But good interview coming up. We got Cow of the Week. We have I Object back with some fantastic topics, and that's what'll keep you entertained. Again, do us all a favor though. Make sure you're subscribing to all the things that we do: our YouTube channel, our Instagram, our Twitter, our Facebook at Sons of UCF. Wherever you do that, we're getting closer on that YouTube count mark. I think we got like 417 or something. So. We got to put some more videos up, get some more subscribers here soon. Our website, twonightsmedia.com. You do all that for us, we would be most appreciative, and we'll keep doing this for you, Mike. Quick breaking news off the top. I just it's being relayed to me. I got a message to it as well, and if you've been following our show, it's obviously a topic near and dear to us. Our friend Maddie Bejarano, who you all recall from UCF softball fame, she of the short-lived NIL deal with the Sons of UCF, she has announced that she will be attending BYU and playing softball there. So Maddie getting a little closer to home, and will be continuing her career at BYU. I'm sure we all wish her well, Mike. Once a night, always a night, right?
In this case, yes. Once a daughter of UCF, always a daughter of UCF. Our first ever NIL deal. It was a great story, getting her brother over to go watch her play in the Super Regionals. Happy to be a part of that, and happy that she's now going to be happy, closer to home. I mean, she's over. BYU is a lot closer to Arizona, where she's from, than all the way across here in Florida. So good for her. Great person. I wish her the best.
So we maybe we'll get Maddie back on at some point, and we'll recap and we'll close out. But congrats to Maddie for moving on to BYU. Well, conference mates, maybe we'll be playing them maybe next year, Mike. Is that a possibility?
It's definitely a possibility.
Oh,
in fact, it's very likely.
Oh.
So, maybe seeing Maddie here in Orlando soon.
All right, Maddie may be back. She's a rival, though. Ooh, that could be interesting. We'll see how that works out. But either way, happy for Maddie, Mike. A lot of people around UCF are happy this week because news that we've already all kind of known for, I don't know, 6, 8, 10, whatever long months now it's been. But now numbers are out. There are dates. Everything's kind of official at this point. UCF announces that along with the other schools in the American, Houston, and Cincinnati, a buyout has been reached with the American Conference. UCF will write a check for $18 million. I think it's over 14 years, though, so they got some time on that check. $18 million to Mike Oresco and his cronies, and we are Big 12 bound starting July 1, 2023, Mike. I know, kind of anticlimactic. We knew this was happening at some point, but the day's officially here. We have the official start date. We kind of know what everything is now with all the numbers. UCF officially to the Big 12. Your reaction is what?
I'm thrilled. I mean, we've known this is happening, but I'm glad that paperwork is finally getting done here. We're almost done with Oresco and the American Conference. We just got 12 football games to take care of this season, and then we'll be out of there. The buyout, I mean, I've been saying it's been going to be around that number anyway. What did he originally ask for? Like 45?
Like 43 million or something? Yeah.
Yeah. We knew that wasn't going to happen. It was going to be close to the UConn number, which it was. But the the time that we have to pay it off is what makes me laugh. I think we have to pay like $10 million up front. And then we've got 14 years to pay off the next $8 million. We're going to be throwing quarters at these guys every couple of weeks just to keep them their mouths shut. And who knows if the American Conference is even around 8 years from now. I think maybe shut down, and then what? Do we even have to pay them?
That's interesting. I don't know. I really don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that would work out. Obviously, for the American, this deal, while we are all sort of kind of wryly smiling at it, you know, they have new members that they want to have join the conference. So you knew something was going to have to give at some point because they're trying to move on with some new members and rebuild their conference. Obviously, we're trying to get out of there as quick as we can to start our journey as well. Really, the only people not moving are Texas and Oklahoma, the two people who started all this. Every other school will have changed by the time Texas and Oklahoma actually go to the SEC, which kind of set all these dominoes in motion, Mike. But we got the officials, and we kind of know what we're looking at. A couple of other interesting nuggets that came out of some of the conversation. Terry Mohajir held a presser after that. Conference dollar-wise, UCF is expected to get a full share of revenue beginning in 2025. Previously, when TCU joined, it took them, I think, 3 or 4 seasons before they got that full revenue. UCF will get that full revenue in 2025. No word on what happens in 23 and 24, but either way, the revenue that the Big 12 teams got last year, even if it was cut in half, would still be triple what UCF got in the American. So either way, money coming UCF's way, which is certainly something we need, Mike. And that's a good nugget to know that we're going to have the ability to get a full-fledged share in that 25 season, which is probably when the TV deal is up too, by the way, because that's when Texas and Oklahoma will officially be gone.
Yeah, we need that money. Obviously, you know, all the projects around campus that we're going to be working on, expansion of the stadium, things like that. We're going to need as much money as possible. So this is a nice come up for us. You know, couldn't have come at a better time. And don't be surprised if Texas and Oklahoma are only here for 1 year with us, and then they're out of there too. That's going to happen. Do we get a piece of that buyout money is the question. Once we're already in the conference and then they have to pay the Big 12 to get out of it, how much of that are we getting? Because we know that's going to be a big pie too that has to be split up among all the other schools.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know how that would work out. My assumption would be they'd try to leave us out of it, but I don't really know how that would work. Timo dropped a couple of other nuggets, at least in his press conference. Sounds like the Big 12 will go to a 9-game conference schedule, which essentially means UCF will play 9 conference games, and then they'll have 3 non-cons to play. If they keep that that rhythm of playing one FCS team, do they play a P5 team? Do they play a G5 team? What do they do from a scheduling standpoint? Obviously, Timo's got some decisions to make. We all know scheduling has been a cluster and a lot of open holes, Mike. Timo mentions that first year to expect potentially 4 games at home, 5 games on the road, and basically said, hey, we're the new guy. We're going to get a bit of the shaft here, Mike. So, and then it sounds like potentially no conference divisions. I know we talked about this on a previous episode. No divisions as well. So everybody all into the pool, Mike. Top 2 teams, I guess, get to the conference championship game. What are your thoughts on what you heard scheduling wise for UCF when they finally get there?
Well, we are a school that is in need of out-of-conference games, and now we have 1 less per year that we need to fill. So that way it helps us out. I don't mind that. We were talking about 3 out-of-conference games every year. The way I'd love to do it would be give me 1 game against either Florida, Florida State, Miami, right? Home and home, back years, and then you can move it on to the next team the next 2 years. Give me 1 game against a team like FAU or FIU or the Cows, right? And have that rotate around between those schools. And then give me 1 FCS game where we need to open up the season, get all our ducks in a row, make sure, a practice game, a warm-up game, or even if you want to have that later in the year, like the way the SEC does it, have a cupcake game in the middle of November, if that's fine. We need 1 of those to get healthy, get everybody right, get some playing time, all that stuff. And then 9 conference games, it's just what it is. Some years you're going to have 4 home games, some years you're going to have 5. It's just going to work out that way. We may benefit from it. It may hurt us 1 year, but everybody in the conference has to go through it. So there's no real advantage to one team over another.
Yeah, what's a lot of people are asking is, will we see Texas and Oklahoma? Will we see them at home, on the road? What'll that look like? Obviously, we've played Texas before. They've been to the Bounce House, obviously, before. So what will we see from that standpoint? So a lot of scheduling stuff. Mike, do you have you been to any of the Big 12 stadiums? Have you been to any of those places?
No, I have not.
Whoa, a Big 12 virgin, are you? Okay, wow.
Right, no, I lied. I've been to BYU.
Okay, good call. All right.
They're going to be.
Speaking of virgin, of all the schools I thought you were going to say. There we go.
But, none of those schools in Texas. And to be honest, I have no desire to visit any of those towns. Austin, I hear, is pretty cool. But you want to get me to go to Stillwater, Oklahoma? No thanks. You want me to go to Ames, Iowa? I'll pass.
Whoa.
You want me to go to Waco, Texas?
The slander is coming out.
When I pick road trips, I want to go on to places where I can do something other than the game. The game is cool. I'm going for the game. But after those 3 hours, 4 hours are done, what else am I doing? Am I getting out of town to go somewhere else? When I went to BYU, they don't allow you to drink and stuff around there. So obviously we went in for the game and we flew out the very next morning and we went to Vegas for 3 days.
Right.
That's the way to do it. It was close by. So if you could do something like that, if you tell me I'm going to Fort Worth and then turning it into maybe Dallas or something and doing something else around there, okay, maybe you can talk me into it. But some of these cities I have no desire to go to, and probably will never go. I don't see myself going to Manhattan, Kansas. I'm sorry. For what?
No, none of the Kansas stops appear to be something that I would want to do. The only I would maybe consider a Kansas basketball game. Only because that Kansas arena, Fog Allen, is legendary, right? It's supposed to be crazy. We'd get murdered in that game, though. So I don't know if I'd want to trek all the way out to Lawrence, Kansas to get murdered. Waco is interesting. My wife wanted to go to Waco. I should have asked her. She left already. That's where apparently Chip and Joanna Gaines are from. Mike, are you familiar with these two?
I see them when I'm checking out at the
the Target or something. Yeah. Your wife would probably know who they are. Apparently, their whole conglomerate is there in the greater Waco area. I forget what it's called. It was some sort of a flower. So my wife was like, "Ooh, we could go to Waco. We could go see Chip and Joanna." And I'm like, "Okay, I don't think they're going to be there, but maybe." So I got the wife in to go to Waco, and Baylor's new football stadium is supposed to be nice. So maybe that works.
That is supposed to be nice. The only thing I think of when I hear Waco, Texas.
David Koresh.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
That's it. That's the only thing that comes to mind when I hear Waco.
I feel like you'd be big on the tailgating in Morgantown, West Virginia. I think don't they burn couches there?
Ooh, yeah. I think I have too many teeth to go to Morgantown. I have to knock out some of my teeth.
Okay.
Maybe fit in a little bit.
And your teeth are your livelihood, so I don't want you to do that.
That's right. So, this next season coming up, this is it for some of these American towns, and I'm trying right now to convince the wife. We've never done it. We've never been to New Orleans. I want to go to New Orleans. We're playing against Tulane November 12th. It's a possibility right now. Trying to talk her into it. Spend 2-3 nights up there, go to the game, and walk around Bourbon Street. Have you been there?
I have never been to New Orleans, no. One spot I've never gone.
Yeah, I've always wanted to check it out, and this is the last chance to go see UCF play there, unless you tell me we're playing in the Sugar Bowl in a couple of years, which I'll take that. If we are playing the Sugar Bowl, I will be at that game.
And that Tulane stadium is supposed to be pretty. It's a newer stadium too, right? So it's a nice little gig there, right? I mean, that's a possibility. That's a great question. I wonder how many fans out there are going to try to make like a sort of a going away tour and get to these stadiums for the last time. Just because, to your point, there may be a long time before we get back there. All
right. So I've been to Memphis. What are the other road games? Tulane. It's Tampa. I've done that. And the fourth away game, I can't think of off the top of my head what it is.
It's not Navy.
It's not Temple, right? Temple's at home, I think.
Temple is at home. We are at home for SF. Hold on, let me go through the schedule. East Carolina. We are at East Carolina. We are at Tulane, and we are at Memphis and the Cows.
East Carolina would have been a lot of fun 10 years ago. I think their atmosphere was a lot better. Back in the Conference USA days, they looked like they really got after it up there. they've been down now for so long. I don't think it's the same. If you could have told me I could have gone to that 2014 game and been there for the Hail Mary, that's the one that we would have wanted to go to, right?
Yes, ideally that would have been better than some of the other stinkers we've had. But again, you go East Carolina, Mike, then maybe you and the wife and the family hit the Outer Banks after that, so you make it a couple of day trip afterwards,
Yeah, it is possible. But New Orleans is more my style. I'd like to check out New Orleans, and she's always wanted to do New Orleans too.
Yeah.
The food that everybody raves about. She's into like those ghost tours. We could do one of those one night, and then obviously throw in the football game. It'd be a fun weekend.
All right, so pencil UCF, Mike, as a definite maybe for the Tulane game, Mike. But yeah, not a great goodbye tour schedule for the Knights this year. How do you think this impacts other sports? Right, we spent a lot of time on football. I mean, men's basketball, it's gonna be a rough one. Baseball, I mean, you saw how we performed in the American. Texas, I think, is in the College World Series, although they'll be gone by the time we get there. Football has been the main focus. Are there any other sports? I mentioned Kansas basketball. Is there anything else outside of football where you're interested in something the Big 12 has to offer you?
Well, they're better basically in every sport. So you talk about softball. I mean, they just had 2 teams play for the national championship.
Those 2 teams are leaving, though.
Those teams are leaving, yes, but they will be there next year when we get there. The same 2 teams are in the Men's College World Series. Oklahoma's in there. The SEC has 4 teams, and they may get another one tonight. I'm not sure. Already in, and then if you count Texas and Oklahoma, they basically have 6 of the 8 teams in the College World Series. It's ridiculous. But yeah, it's a step up in every sport, man. And that's why we got to start stepping our game up with the donations and raising money for these other sports, because football is not making enough to pay for all these sports to be successful. So, get your pocketbooks ready, because season ticket prices are about to go up a lot now with this announcement. We're going to be in the Big 12.
Yeah.
That home schedule, it's going to be a lot better home schedule. You're not going to get the game. You're not going to have, Tulsa and Tulane and Temple coming to town where nobody cares, and you have to wear a space uniform to get everybody excited. I mean, now you're talking about, you're still going to have a clunker. You're still going to have Kansas come to town every once in a while, but there's less of them. There's less games. You get a lot more exciting now with Oklahoma State and Baylor and BYU and Cincinnati and Houston. Better overall product all around.
Yeah, again, there's a lot to be excited about for sure. I think Kansas basketball, again, that might be a good atmosphere. I mean, Baylor, again, they won the national title game. College basketball is tough to just be like, hey, I'm gonna go road trip to go watch college basketball though. But I would if our team can be competitive, I would consider that. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, Mike. It's going to be a lot of fun. But you mentioned it. Pocketbooks need to start getting fatter soon, because, Mohajir pretty much flat out said it in some respects, right? They've got to find ways to generate revenue. He continues to talk about potentially changing some of the schematics for the new bounce house renderings that they have drawn up there. So the tickets that you and I have now, I imagine those are going to go way up once Big 12 season comes. I think I saw there's 2,000 or so tickets left this year already on the docket. I saw Cincinnati sold out of theirs already too, which is interesting. But I think about 2,000 season tickets left, Mike. But you got to imagine those are going to go premium next year.
Definitely. They better upgrade some stuff in the cabana too, because if they're going to start selling beer all around the stadium and they're going to jack up my price in the cabana, I mean, you may see me move over to the cheap seats.
Whoa, say it ain't so, Mike.
Adding all those premium seats that they're talking about adding, even though in the end zone, which I'm against. But once that happens, I mean, things will even out. The prices are going to go up, but they're not going to be crazy going up, right? At least not right away, I don't think. Still affordable. UCF is a very affordable ticket when you compare it to schools like Alabama and Florida. How much are those season tickets going for? For the seats that we have, 50-yard line seats, you couldn't come close to getting those seats for the prices that we pay at some of these other schools.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, this season obviously could be the opportunity to get in now. Again, your prices are probably going to go up a little bit, but you get a great home slate, which it may be a while before we see a home slate this good, right? If we're losing Texas and Oklahoma, if we don't get one of those schools, unless a school we're not thinking of, a Baylor or a Texas Tech, comes out of nowhere and becomes a national powerhouse. This could this be the best home slate we have for a long time, Mike, for at least the next couple of years?
Definitely, especially if they give us Texas or Oklahoma. I don't anticipate them doing that, but even if they don't, I mean, Baylor's a nice game, right? We have a little bit of history with them if we get them at home. Oklahoma State would be a nice draw. BYU always brings a good crowd. So the home schedule is going to be very tough next year, but it's going to be a lot of fun games, a lot of good atmospheres. I'm looking forward to next season for sure.
Should be blast. But again, we got the answers we finally wanted. $18 million goes to the American from UCF, and we get into the Big 12 in 2023, Mike. There are a few other newsy, noteworthy type items, but you know what? We're going to cover all that for you guys in I Object, which is coming up here in just a few minutes, Mike. Do you have any top fives, anything you need to get out of the way here early before we get into everything else?
I'm not prepared with any top fives this week.
My daughter threatened to do a top 5 things my dad said on her vacation, but I don't think she ever came through with that. So we'll have to check back with that on a future show. I think one of them was, oh my God, Manatee is disgusting. I think that may be one of the top 5 things I said on our vacation, Mike. But I'll check back on that. Well, I owe you that, the audience. I owe you that top 5 list.
Well, the top 5 things that you fell off of during your vacation.
Well, it's paddleboard and it's jet ski. I don't think I fell off the bed.
You fell off the wagon?
What wagon? Was I on the wagon? I haven't been on a wagon in years. Yeah, I think maybe in the top 5. Look, the jet ski thing was not, neither one of them really my fault. The jet ski I'm fine with, though, because we were having fun. My son was freaking out because he's like, I don't want to go in the water. So, I was doing a little bit of the, tipsy twos a little bit to see if I could get him scared a little bit. So then finally we actually ended up taking a dip in and he was fine. So that was more fun. I do have a complaint. You know what I realize I really hate in my life, and we have made no advancements to make it better in society at all.
What's that?
Sand.
Sand.
There's nothing good about sand. Where's the positive with sand? Here's the problem. You go to the beach, right, and you're having a good time. You're at the beach, right? You're in the water. You're sunbathing, having a few White Claws, having a good time. And you're like, hey, all right, it's time to go, everybody, right? So first thing you do is you get to walk in the sand. You know what it is? It's 1,000 degrees. We've got no apparatus to cool the sand. All right, that's fine. So I burn the soles of my feet off. I get to the front. I'm like, all right, I got to take a shower, right? So I kind of rinse off a little bit, get my sandals off, and get my feet all clean. And you know what? I put them back in, Mike, right into the sand. That's right there. There's no good way. And then sand is with you the rest of the day. You can't get rid of I don't care how much you shower, especially in a hotel shower where the water pressure is like nothing. You're basically like living in sand for the next 48 hours after the beach. I don't know how you people do it.
Somebody told me this trick one time. I've never done it, but I've heard that it works. Baby powder.
I heard that baby powder afterwards. Yes.
And the sand doesn't stick to you.
I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard that. This is not a new rant that this is not. I try this material out on a lot of people in advance. I already had this rant, and I was told I needed to get some baby powder, and I'm like, well, this is helpful that I'm already off the beach now.
Yeah, but you forget to do it for the next time.
I will forget next time.
Now, what would you prefer besides sand? You want the ocean, you want the water.
Yeah. And
it's going to go into what? Just concrete? You're going to be standing on concrete?
I don't need concrete.
And go into the water?
Give me some mulch. Okay. I don't know. I just don't need I just don't need sand. Or find a better way for me to get off of there should be like walkways that take you directly from the water right into the parking lot. You know what I mean? Like a little bridge overhang, something like that you can get right there if you don't want to be involved in the sand.
Well, I mean, most beaches, they have the showers, and you shower yourself right there and then from there, you're on concrete, you're on the sidewalk, and you don't go back onto the sand after you do that.
Is this a hot take? I don't know if this is a hot take or not. A good resort pool beats a beach every time.
Well, I mean, a good resort pool. I'm always in for a good resort pool. A little cabana action.
Yes.
You got the shade.
Yeah.
You got probably nicer bathrooms.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Bottle service, if you so choose. You got some food maybe nearby. A good resort pool beats the beach any day of the week.
It could, but I enjoy the beach. I like the breeze. I like sitting out there. I set up my tent. I got a nice big tent. We got the blankets. I got
That's
a
the
whole
other thing.
setup there.
That's the other. The amount of crap you have to carry down to the beach is unbelievable. You have to carry like chairs and apparatuses and you got wagons full of stuff. You got towel. I mean, the amount of things. When I went to the pool the other day, I literally brought a hat and my towel, and I was like, "Oh, here, I'll sit right here." I was all set. The beach, I pretty much brought the hotel room. I was like, "Can you take room 904 and bring it downstairs for me?" Because it was the whole goddamn thing. Need to go down to the beach. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, I have a wagon that we put everything in. I got a giant tent. I got about 4 or 5 chairs we got to bring with us. We got the cooler. We've got a whole bunch of stuff. My wife complains about it, like you're complaining about it right now, all the time. Except she doesn't have to carry any of it or set any of it up. I do all that stuff, and she still complains about it for me. I don't get it. I say the same thing to her. Why are you always complaining? You're not even doing anything. But
it's a lot.
I guess you would be the one doing it.
It depends, Mike. I may pull a boycott in the parking lot. It really depends on I usually don't bring the tent because that's a lot of work. So we typically, if I don't bring the tent, it also allows me to meter the amount of time we're there because I'm like, hey, the sun's really out today. So it allows me to meter the time. So we have not brought the tent, although we have a tent. And last time my wife's like, should we bring the tent? I was like, does that thing even still work? I don't even really know. So I got out of the tent. That was my trick. But now she's going to hear this. Oh, she probably won't actually. So I should be good. But a resort pool over a beach any day of the week. That's not why you people came to the show, by the way. But just a free nugget for you. Go resort pool over beach any day.
A little trick with the tent. Don't take the top off. I used to have a UCF tent, and I always put the top on it. That's gone. Now I have like one of these giant vendor tents, and it's pretty cool. It takes up the whole thing, but I never take the top off. I unzip it from the bag, take it out. Everybody pulls the legs out. It's up in 2 minutes.
If someone wasn't listening to the first part of that conversation and all you heard was don't take the top off, boom, unzip, and there are the legs, they're really confused right now. That I can tell you.
Up in 2 minutes? Yeah.
I can assure you of that. I can assure you of that. All right, well, that's all we've got. All right, we're going to take a break. Coming up, we will object to some stuff, and then we got a fun interview coming up. So thanks for sticking in here. Don't go anywhere. It's the summer. What are you going to do? Sons UCF.
This is UCF head football coach Gus Malzahn, and you're listening to the Future of UCF podcasting with Adam and Mike on the Sons of UCF. Boom.
All right, Mike, we have the star of the show is returning again this week to help us out with I Object. But before we get to her, we do want to remind you that we are brought to you by Gordon & Partners. They are dedicated to the pursuit of justice for those who've been wrongfully injured at their own fault. If you need help from anybody, your guy, Michael Hoffman, he's a UCF alum. He is going to give you some good advice. If he can't help you out, he'll find somebody who can. Visit their website, fortheinjured.com, or give Michael a text. Who else has given you their number to text him? Nobody crazier than Michael Hoffman. He's also crazy in the courtroom. He will get you whatever you need. 407-913-5350. That's how you text Michael. Again, UCF alum. Don't just trust anybody, Mike. Trust a knight when you have legal issues. And that brings us to I Object, and I've brought our moderator, I guess. I don't know what we're going to call her. She's back for another week. This is Stephanie. Stephanie, say hello.
Hello.
So if you're not familiar with the game, and Stephanie wasn't when she walked in, here's how this works. She's going to read a statement, Mike, and then you and I get to decide whether or not we object to her statement. It's actually pretty simple when you think about it, right?
Yeah, it's not that complicated. I think we make it more complicated than it needs to be sometimes. But,
yeah, that's what we do right here.
Let's give it a go.
All right, let's get it go. Here, Stephanie's got the first statement to be read. Stephanie, take it away.
Okay. Do you object? UCF fans celebrating going to the Big 12 a year early are lame.
Ooh, calling people lame, Steph. Jesus. I don't object to that. I mean, I think obviously we're not there yet. We still have some time. I don't. Lame is a little rough, but I mean, let's not count what is it? You don't count chickens for their hatch. Is that how that works? Or the cart doesn't go for the horse? I'm not really familiar with that. I don't know if I go with lame, but we still got a year left on this thing, so a lot of time to be had, Mike. I don't know.
Well, I mean, to do it this past week because they announced the buyout, I don't know. Like, we already knew this. If you listen to this show, the day we were getting invited to the Big 12, I told you that. You told everybody that. We're going to be going in 2023. So I didn't take this as news. Like, now we're officially in because we have the buyout numbers. We knew the buyout was going to get paid. So I didn't think it was that big of a deal this week. It's nice to finally get the numbers out there in public. But the people that want to celebrate, I mean, hey, we've been waiting for this day a very long time. So I see a lot of people are excited about it. People are planning road trips, and they're seeing which cities they want to visit and this and that. So I think that part is cool. And anytime you want to throw it in the cows' faces, I'm always down for that too. So I wouldn't call it lame. People are just having a good time. It's the off season. What do you want us to do?
All right, Mike objects. All right, there we go. All right, Stephanie, next topic. What do you got?
We should be concerned about officiating, cheap shots, and all kinds of dirty tactics since we are a 1-year lame duck.
Yeah, I do not object to this. I actually do think this is accurate because who knows what kind of officiating we're going to get. The American Conference officials aren't stellar to begin with. Teams taking cheap shots. I mean, we may never play the Cows again. So what stops them from, trying to do something dirty or feisty or something like that? And so who knows what to face? So I don't object to this at all. I think it's a legit concern. A 1-year lame duck. Now we've been in this situation before, leaving the MAC and leaving Conference USA, and nothing catastrophic happened. But certainly being a 1-year lame duck in a conference where there was a little bit of stuff here and there between UCF and the conference, I have no objection to this. I think this is actually an interesting thing to monitor throughout the year.
Yeah, we got to keep our eye on it. I think it's definitely possible. Here's the good news: our two biggest competitors in this conference are also leaving the conference. So they're in the same boat as us. And I expect Cincinnati and Houston to get the same treatment we're going to get on the way out. We don't play Houston head-to-head in the regular season. We play Cincinnati. I don't know what the refs are going to do for that game. Probably whatever Oresco tells them to do, whatever makes him the most money, depending on what situation both teams are in at the time. If we have two of these three teams in the championship game, Oresco may lose his mind. I don't know what's going to happen there either. But yeah, it's definitely something to keep an eye on. A game against a team like SMU, which is probably one of the better teams not leaving the conference. We may be in for a tough one there officiating-wise. At least that game's at home. So definitely keep an eye on it. It is a real thing. This does happen all the time when teams leave conferences. And Texas and Oklahoma are going to go through the same thing in the Big 12. And we may benefit from it next year when we play either one of those teams, and they're on their way to the SEC.
Yeah, fair enough. So neither one of us objects. That you found something Mike and I agree on. No objections here. What do you got for the third one?
Up next, when Darren Green Jr. returns to play UCF this season, we should boo him, right?
She added that up next. That's not what I wrote there, Mike. Should we boo Darren Green Jr.? I object. I don't know that you need to boo him. I'm not saying you need to cheer for him. I mean, maybe when he gets introduced, you stand up, applaud, and say great job. But FSU, obviously, this is a return game for them coming to Orlando. I'm sure Darren Green has this game circled on his calendar, if he has one such calendar to circle something on. I don't think you need to boo him, but I don't think we need to get all crazy and with tribute videos. I think when they announce his name in the starting lineup, if he starts, you applaud, you stand up, you thank him for his time. But I don't think this needs to be a full-on, boo him off the court session.
Well, we don't have to go overboard, but we boo him just like we boo any other opposing team, any other opposing player that comes into our court. We can boo him. So he's no exception now. He's not wearing black and gold anymore. He chose a different side. So when he comes to Orlando, he's no longer – I'm not cheering for him. I'm not rooting for him, and I'm definitely not rooting for him when he's playing against UCF. So you can get that out of your head right now. If you want to be a nice person when they introduce him, you want to clap for him, say, okay, thank you for your time. But after that, once the game is tipped off, he plays for the other team, I'm booing him. If he throws up an air ball, you better believe everybody better be chanting air ball every time he touches the ball for the rest of the game.
Once a night, always a night?
No.
Okay. Fair enough. This is where once a night, always a night doesn't apply because he left us to go someplace else. He'll come back to play us. I mean, you tip your cap, you wish him well, no injuries. But to your point, once the game gets tipped off, let's just hope they don't beat us by 50. All right, Steph, what is the next statement you got here? Are you going to ad-lib again? Because you threw me off there with that ad-lib. Go ahead.
I actually was, because I have no idea what this one means.
Okay.
No booms out of Bounce House Weekend means it is a failure.
You have no idea what that means? What do you think that means? Let's just hold on to that. Let's just examine. What do you think that means?
No wins? What does booms mean?
What does booms? You don't know what boom is?
No.
Oh, my goodness. All right. You may be kicked off the show. So a boom, for those who don't know, is what Gus Malzahn tweets out after a recruit decides to commit to UCF. So UCF hosted a big back-to-back weekend recruiting seminar, for lack of better words, at the Bounce House, called the Bounce House Weekends, Mike. And we did not see any booms out of Gus Malzahn. So Stephanie was asking us, does that mean it's a failure? I do object to that. I think just because you didn't see an announcement doesn't mean good things aren't happening. I know a lot of people probably wanted to see 2 or 3 guys, pull a Dontravious Wilson, which you'll hear later on, and his experience being at UCF. But just because you didn't see that doesn't mean that's not something in the works. So I don't think it's a failure because we had no outright booms right off the bat. I think maybe something's coming would be my guess, Mike. So I say no. I object. It's not a failure.
Yeah, it's still early. Some of these guys had a lot of other official visits to make, and some of them already have planned out a day that they're going to make their announcement, and it may be that they're coming to UCF. They just haven't announced it yet. So I think we'll definitely see some guys that were here that weekend commit here to UCF soon, and some guys next year. Because like I mentioned before, not everybody that was here for Bounce House Weekend is even coming to college next year. They got another year or 2 after that. So I'm not worried about it at all. We had the same situation last year. Everybody freaked out for a couple days. Everything turned out to be okay.
Do you now know what booms mean, Stephanie? Are you more prepared?
I do. You should have told me that before.
Really? You have to explain all these to you. You wrote them yourselves. I don't understand what you need from me. All right. The last appearance for Stephanie this evening on her last I Object idea is what?
With the Greg Lovelady to Ohio State smoke, him leaving would be a really bad thing.
Would be a really bad thing. I object a little bit. I don't think it'll be a really bad thing. It would be. It would certainly be something that has to change and something that has to be figured out. It won't be an easy thing. I don't know if it'd be a really bad thing, but look, I'm not here sourcing anything. I'm not providing any insight. I would just tell everyone keep an eye on this Lovelady to Ohio State thing. I think there may be some more legs there than we realize, but it wouldn't be a great thing because then you got to start over and people are going to transfer and recruiting and all that stuff. But sometimes a new direction doesn't hurt. Again, you're going to hear Dontravious Wilson talk about that in a little bit. So I don't think it's going to be a really bad thing, although it's not a great thing, Mike.
I'd take it as an okay thing. If Lovelady's not long for this job anyway, might as well be now instead of next year. Then it just delays the process a little bit. And you want to go into your first year in the Big 12 with a new coach, or would you rather a new coach come in now, have a year under his belt, get to know the players he has, build the roster for another season, and go into the Big 12 a little more prepared? I'd prefer it that way. So if he's going to go, just go now. And we don't have to fire him, which half the fan base wants to do anyway. So if somebody's willing to take him off our hands, I'm all for it.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I guess to see your point, right? If we're going to say to ourselves that he's not long for UCF anyway, cut the cord while you have a cord to be cut. I mean, we'll see what materializes here. I mean, obviously, with this kind of move would come change. Sometimes change is good. Sometimes change is not good. Florida State just fired their baseball coach. We saw that. So yeah, you never know what can happen. So just keep an eye on that one. That's all I'll say. Stephanie, I know you.
That guy?
What happened? Do you want Mike Martin Jr.?
Mike Martin? I mean, the guy who's in the College World Series all the time. He never won it.
Well, this is Mike Martin Jr. though, not his dad.
Oh, it's not that guy.
No, it's not that guy. It's the guy after the guy. Yeah, it's his dad. So I don't know if he's the right fit. Stephanie's trying to leave the room. Mike, do we have anything else we need from Stephanie here today?
No. How was the vacation, Stephanie? You guys had a good time? I heard Adam had an incident with the manatees and the dolphins.
He might have fallen off the paddleboard and the jet ski a few times.
That's what they're there for.
I'm trying not to get that on the show. But
that's what they're there for. The jet ski I'm fine with. The jet ski we took a short. You're supposed to fall off a jet ski if you're having fun.
You fell off while you were driving?
Yes. Yeah, I was making a hard turn. I had the little guy on there. The weight distribution didn't work out, and we hit a little tipsy. That's all.
Well, good thing you had the thing wrapped to your wrist. Yeah,
I did. Yeah, we cut the engine. Yeah, we cut the engine. The paddleboard, it's all kinds of a fiasco on that. Again, the two of us should not have been in that paddleboard. That's all I'm going to tell you with that. Stephanie, you can leave now. Goodbye, Stephanie. Thanks for coming back. We appreciate it. Thanks for stopping in. All right, Mike, that takes care of I Object for this particular week. And I'm going to start throwing these. What do you think? Should I put these on Instagram and let people like vote on whether or not they object with these with these comments or topics? I feel bad that only you and I get to sort of opine on these things.
Yeah, I might as well leave it up to the public. They seem to like getting involved in these things. Trace puts out polls all the time. I think maybe we should move it to Instagram. I'm on the gram now.
I heard. That's actually the whole reason I did that, was the segue for you to share more about your Instagram prowess.
Yeah, I signed up, and it's been about 2 weeks now. I think I made like 3 posts the first week. My wife keeps telling me, you got to post something new every day. You got to engage with people. You got to do. I was like, I really don't care that much, but I'll do it. I'm doing it for the show. So now I've been on Twitter now since we started the podcast. Before that, I had 0 social media. I started Twitter for the podcast. So I've been doing that for a while. Now I moved over to Instagram, and it's all right. You know, I have a lot of family members that are there. Half the people following me are people I actually know, which is a little different for me, because that's why I like Twitter. Is I didn't know any of those people, so I can kind of just be my smart ass self over there. But I'm getting into it, I guess. You know, it's a little more personal page. I'll throw more stuff out there that's maybe not UCF related, maybe some behind the scenes UCF Mike stuff.
I saw some behind the scenes UCF Mike stuff for sure. A lot of thirst traps, as the girls might say.
I mean, if that's the way you want to look at it.
I'm just telling you what the girls are saying. That's all.
I may not have a shirt on for the last couple posts.
He may not have a shirt on, but he might not have a shirt on now, actually. I don't even really know.
I definitely don't.
I
do not.
Even better. So let's take a break. Mike's going to grab a shirt, and we'll come back. We'll introduce our guest for the evening, for the show. It's probably not evening when you're listening to this, so don't go anywhere. We're the Sons of UCF, and we have shirts on sometimes.
This is UCF Athletic Director Terry Mohajir, and in my spare time, when I'm not on TikTok, I'm listening to Adam and Mike on the Sons of UCF. Go Knights and charge on!
All right, in just 1 second, Mike, Dontravious Wilson will join us. But before we get to that, I've got to bring back an old friend of ours, Mike. Manscaped is back. They reached out. They want to let you know that Father's Day is just around the corner, and they're here to make sure that all the father figures in your life are looking just pristine at all times. They have the Performance 4.0 package that includes the Lawnmower 4.0, and it can certainly help out any man in your life, doesn't matter who that is. This is no dad joke here. Treat him to something special. Over 4 million men wanted to get involved with this, Mike, and they're important. And they're important because Manscaped makes you feel good, makes you look good. 20% off, free shipping if you put Sons of UCF as a promo code, Mike. Trust me, the man in your life, their dad bod will thank you. They've got a lot of stuff, Mike. They got the lawnmower, they got boxers, they got shirts, they got skincare products, they got deodorants, they got everything you might need. So whether he's mowing the lawn, taking the trash out, golfing the sun, it doesn't matter. Buy this for your dad. If you're a son, buy this for your dad. If you're a lady, buy this for the man in your life. Even if he just has a dog, buy it for the dog. I don't care who you buy it for. Go to manscaped.com. Promo code is Sons of UCF. You will get 20% off whenever you order, Mike. You can't miss this deal. It's an unbeatable deal.
Yeah, nobody knows what to get their dads for Father's Day, right? You got them a tie every year for the last 10 years. You get them some socks. But now this is what he needs. This is what he wants. He needs to take care of himself. He needs to clean himself up. And now that I'm on Instagram, maybe I'll post a video of myself using the Manscaped. What do you think? Is that a good idea? Is that safe? That's not safe.
I mean, without a shirt on, maybe you can, maybe a couple of chest hairs,
If I had any chest hair, I would.
No.
There's nothing there. But you get the point.
I don't want to get the point.
Manscaped. I've had the Manscaped now for a few months since they became partners with the show, and I love it. It's fantastic. You got what's the one called where the weed whacker?
Yeah, the weed whacker.
Trim the nose hairs.
Yeah.
I'm in my 40s now. I'm getting ear hair. I don't remember getting ear hair in my 20s, but when I look in the mirror and all of a sudden there's the hair like 3 inches long. I don't know how that happened overnight. But you need the weed whacker. You get rid of that stuff. You clean yourself up and you look good for the week.
Yeah, I can't sell it any better than that. Again, manscaped.com, 20% off your order. Sons of UCF is where you're going to want to be at. So make sure that you're thinking about it. You're thinking about that. You got 1 week to go here. If you're listening to us early in the week, it's Sunday. So get those orders in quickly, and you may be able to get some stuff by Father's Day. So let's talk to a guy who we learned in this interview is a father of two beautiful young girls. He was also a fantastic running back for UCF, a part of a lot of great teams. Dontravious Wilson is our guest this week, and let me shut up and you can hear from him. All right, let's bring in Dontravious. Now, first off, my friend, thank you so much for taking the time to join us on the show tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Well, let's start here. I always ask this question of every guest we have. How did you come to choose UCF? I saw you had a few different offers coming out of high school, but how and why did UCF come into your life?
Before visiting UCF, I was committed to Western Kentucky. I took my visit to Western Kentucky. Then the following week, I took my visit to UCF. And I think that Friday night, once I got there, it just felt like home. So I didn't even make it to Sunday where you actually go in and talk to the coaches and commit. Like I committed that Friday. Like this is where I'm coming at. It just felt like home, and just seeing, the campus and just the environment and the player that was already there. It was very welcoming. So it was a no-brainer for me.
What is it about that Georgia to UCF pipeline? There's been so many guys out of Georgia that have come down to UCF and been successful. Is there something like in high school? Was UCF a known program up in the Georgia area? How did that pipeline get created?
Honestly, I think I didn't find out about UCF until high school. So I'm not really sure, but I know as far as Georgia and Florida, in Georgia we don't have a beach. So
that's true.
We do it.
Fair point.
But Florida, it's got all the beaches and things like that. It always been a vacation place for people who's from Georgia. So it's automatically, just one of those places that you like to go. It's a feel-good place, and, it's the Sunshine State. So I think that's how it kind of became a thing as far as UCF and Georgia players.
Who was your main recruiter? Who was the main person that you were talking to during your recruitment process?
Coach Beckner.
Okay, yeah, he's brought some good ones to UCF.
Yeah, Coach Beckner, he's a good guy.
You came on to a team that was already pretty good in 2013, went on to be conference champs, but you played right away. Did you think you were going to be redshirting that first year, or did you anticipate getting some playing time right away?
I did think I was going to get redshirted because a lot of guys that I came in with got redshirted. It was only a handful of us that played right away. So I did think I was going to get redshirted at first, but just going through camps and kind of get a feel of everything and, just getting a chance to play. So it was – at first it was shocking to me just to see that I made the travel squad. But then, I did put the work in, so I kind of understood. But it was a good feeling knowing that it was only a handful of the people that came in my class that was playing right away.
When did they let you know that? Because the rules were a little different back then. Now you can play 4 games and still redshirt. Back then, I think, did you know before the season started, hey, you're going to be traveling, you're going to be playing all the time?
We found out after camp was over. They got the travel squad, then the non-travel squad, so everybody go and read the list and see who made it and then make the travel squad. And just going looking at the list after camp was over with, and my name was on the list.
So after making that adjustment from high school to college, and you do the whole fall camp with these guys, did you have a welcome to college moment? Did you notice any big differences making that leap?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Coming from college, coming from high school, I went to Buford High School. So, just coming to college and pretty much just seeing the tempo of everything and the difference as far as strength and speed. That was the biggest thing, and something to get adjusted to as far as, just your work ethic and getting to the weight room and make sure you're doing extra things. The biggest thing with me was standing in the training room. That was new to me. I never was one of the guys that was in the training room. So I had one of them moments at practice. I think it was, I want to say Brandon Alexander. it kind of gave me a woke up call. Like, okay, this is college. This is real now. You know, it's time to, buckle down and take it a little bit more serious.
You picked a great year to start at UCF, but that 2013 team got known, kind of a nickname, as the Cardiac Knights. So many close games that year: Penn State, South Carolina, Memphis, obviously Temple, Houston, Louisville. Is there a game in particular that you brings back the most memories in terms of you can't believe you all still pulled that game out?
I would say the Louisville game. It was crazy just to be a part of it, and just seeing what was going on. The defense played amazing, and for Blake Bortles to just come out with the game-winning drive and throw the touchdown pass, it was, for me, that was like one of the best games that year for me. That I couldn't believe that we actually pulled through and won that one.
That's like, even over the Temple game. I mean, Temple, you guys were. I mean, J.J. Watt makes the catch of all time, and a lot of things still have to go your way. So you still put Louisville over Temple?
Yeah, I still say the Louisville game, just because of the players that they have, and just the environment. We was at Louisville, and the environment was crazy. The fans was loud, and we barely could hear each other on the field. So the environment was different. And I don't get me wrong, it was a lot of memorable games that season. That's kind of tough to just single out one of them because it was so many. But I do think the Louisville game was my most memorable game.
Well, that year, the team goes 12-1. Obviously, wins the Fiesta Bowl. Fantastic season. Your first year. Did you think college football was always going to be that easy? I mean, were you kind of like, man, this is going to be great. I'm going to win championship after championship. Was that a good way to start off your college career, looking back on everything you went through?
It was a great way to start my college career, but nothing was easy about it. I can't say that it was easy. It was hard work put in and day out throughout the off season. It was a lot of work. So I won't say it was easy, but it was definitely worth it, I'll say, and that was a great way to start my career at UCF. So I was looking forward to winning championships. Like that was win one the first year there, so I was kind of excited about my career moving forward.
And that season, Storm Johnson is the bell cow running back, and he still has another year if he wants it, but he decides to leave early. How does that play into the competition for the starting running back job going into 14? Were you pretty sure you were going to get the nod there?
I did. I believed in my work ethic. But the running back class that I came in, we all was roommates. Me, Will Stanback, Michael Reed, we all roommates. So we literally did everything together. So it was competition, but at the same time, we was like brothers. So neither one of us felt any type of way if the other one was starting. So it was kind of, of course it was competitive. We're in the same room every day. That's all we talked about. It was practice and working out and things like that. So it was very competitive, but I just knew that if I work hard, that I just wanted to give myself the best chance, the best opportunity possible. So I just continue to put the work in and continue to work towards that.
Yeah, and you ended up getting the first start of the year over in Ireland against Penn State, 21 carries that day. Take us back to that whole trip. What was that trip like, headed out there and then that game environment?
It was crazy. First of all, I'd never been on a plane that long before. And, I really haven't taken a flight before my college career. That was the first time of me really experiencing getting on planes. And that was my first time flying that long and just over so much water. I just slept. I didn't want to see anything. I didn't want to know what was going on. I pretty much slept the whole flight. But, once we get there, Ireland was a gloomy place. It was different, way different from obviously Central Florida. So and just going into the game, at that moment I didn't know. We didn't know who was going to start that game. We literally found out, once we got done practicing in Ireland, and then Coach O'Leary gave the starting lineups. So going into the game, no one really knew who was going to start it out. And once I saw that, I got the starting position, and going out there, it was the environment, it was different. Something we none of us was used to, that we had to adjust to. And obviously we lost that game, but it was another memorable moment for me, just being able to travel overseas, play a football game, and with the group of guys that we had, it was memorable.
So a lot of people have said, Mike and I included, that maybe we win that game if Justin Holman starts to begin with. Obviously, Pete DeNova gets to start that game. Holman comes in second half, leads a comeback, and he ended up taking the job over for the rest of the year. We had Justin on the show a couple of years ago, and such a nice guy. But he's like in an unfortunate place in history. He falls between Blake Bortles and Mackenzie Milton, right? Probably two of the top three quarterbacks in UCF history. What was Justin Holman like to play with as a quarterback? What was he like to go in the huddle with and to play with week in and week out?
Justin Holman, always calm. He's very methodical. A smooth guy. He's confident in what he's doing. He for me starting with Justin, he was always able to, point me in the right direction as far as plays, new signs, new signals, and things like that. So he was very helpful for me in the offense. He was able to tell everybody what to do, where to go, whether it was a check. And, Justin Holman, he's a great guy, great leader, very hard worker. He was doing workouts, he was putting up some of the same weight that I was putting up and some of the linemen. So he's a very hard-working guy, and he's a great leader.
I think it was Josh Reese told us that Holman split his glove open. He throws the ball so hard. Did he ever peg you with one of those fastballs?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I had to tell him before. I think I had a check down route, which is only 5 yards from the line of scrimmage, and he threw me a bullet. I mean, I caught it, but when I got back to the hood, I'm like, hey man, you can take some heat off of that. Broke my finger, but that's just how he is. He gonna make sure it get there, and it's gonna come with some heat.
Well, you had a really big game that year too against SMU. You had 15 carries, 80 yards, 2 touchdowns. What do you remember about that game? I mean, obviously you had played a little bit, but that was kind of maybe your breakout game just in terms of productivity. What do you remember most about that game?
Honestly, I remember getting hurt that game. I think I sprained my AC joint that game. But as far as playing, I think I had 3 touchdowns that game in the first half, and then I sprained my AC joint. It was a feel good game for me. Like I pretty much just, it was a good feeling. Holes was opening up, line was doing a great job, receivers was blocking on the outside, and it was, like I said, it was just a feel good game, just picking up momentum. And then I got hurt in the second quarter, and that kind of I was out for the rest of the game. But yeah, it was just one of those feel-good moments for me where I'm like, okay, it's starting to click with me. I'm starting to get my groove.
I think that 14 season kind of gets forgotten about a little bit. I mean, we're still share of the conference title. How good was that team? We had a lot of guys back that year from 13, right?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. We had a good team. We still have Rashad Perriman, Josh Reese. We had Speedo. We still had a lot of guys that came back that year, and I always said that we was underrated that year. We most definitely were underrated and overlooked.
Yeah, after the first couple of games we lose, and we win like 8 in a row. We have a nice win against BYU in overtime. The one game I always scratch my head about is the UConn game. I don't know how we end up losing that one. But then and a nice one against East Carolina with the Hail Mary to close it out. So pretty good season overall, right?
Yes, sir. It was a great season. And the UConn game, I would like to say that the weather played a big factor in that.
And no heaters on the sideline, right?
Yeah, we had no heaters. It was
well, we had them.
So we
turned off.
Real cold, so it was it was tough. And I think that was the game. O'Leary, I think he was so mad. I think he just turned off all the heaters, and we all just freezing out there. Yeah. So it was a big factor in that loss.
All right. So, okay, but as good as that team was, coming into 15, you got to be pretty optimistic. I know as a fan base, we were pretty optimistic going into that year. What was it in the off season going into 2015? Did you have expectations for the team going into that year?
Most definitely. Every off season we working to, of course, win the conference each and every year. So just going into, coming into the season, knowing the work we just put in the off season, we had high expectations for us that year. Unfortunately, it didn't go how we would like it to have gone. But, it happened for a reason, and it also caused a change at UCF. I just felt like it was just that time. It was just time for a change, time for something new, and that's what happened.
Well, for you personally, that season got off to a rough start. You got hurt in that FIU game, right? What do you remember about that FIU game and the injury you suffered?
Yeah, the first game, I tore my PCL in my left knee, and I think that was like in the first quarter. I want to say it was early on, but just getting hurt, I was so devastated because I knew the amount of work that I put in the off season, and I just knew that was going to be my year, as a solid year as a whole. And coming out the first game, getting injured is kind of it was tough. It was tough for me mentally, trying to overcome that. So it was a little rough, but it happens. It's life.
Well, you kept playing though. I mean, you kept coming back and playing a few games here and there. And how close were you were you ever fully healthy, or was it you were just gritting it out and trying to play as hard as you could?
I was never completely healthy. I never really got healthy until that off season, that summer. It bothered me the whole season. I played with a big knee brace on. At that moment, I'm just, trying to be tough. Leary, he's an old school guy, and he got tough mentality, and I just wanted to do anything I could, to be tough, to try to help the team any way I could. But during that whole season, I never was 100%. I played with a huge knee brace on. I couldn't really, make cuts like I wanted to. But, I just tried to stick it out and be tough for the team.
Yeah, that season's really hard to talk about. But what was the lowest point of that season? Injuries aside, we had some bad losses to some bad teams that year, and then we had some blowouts. But was there a point in that season where you said, man, this is like really rock bottom here?
Yeah, rock bottom for me, all of it was bad. It's really not a lot of good came from that year. What team was it? What was the second game we played?
You think about the Furman game?
Furman game. When we lost to Furman, that's when I was like, yeah, this is bad. So for me, that was my lowest. I was like, we just lost to Furman. Like there's, now teams got that film to look at, and going to the game, teams are looking at us different. They're not respecting us at all. We just lost to Furman, so I knew it was going to be a long year once we lost to Furman. So I would say that was our lowest.
Was there a point in that season where you think the guys just kind of quit on the season at all?
Yeah, I do feel like I'm not going to say everybody, but I do feel like some guys kind of gave up. They didn't really want to play anymore because we was losing. But I tried not to have that mentality, and I tried to make sure that the running back room, that we did whatever it took, no matter what it was. We kept coming up short, but as long as we was going out competing and trying to give us the best chance we could to win, that was fine with me. But so it was unacceptable for the running back room to not give any effort. But it was some guys on the team that that was kind of over it, and they gave up.
Yeah, because at the end of the year, we were just getting blown out. I mean, the losses early in the year, things didn't go our way, but those ones at the end, I think we got outscored like 85-3 in the last 2 weeks. It was kind of obvious these guys had.
Yeah, it was like I said, it was just time for a change. It was just time for a change. That's all.
It was actually 88 to 10, Mike, for the last two games. But you mentioned earlier, so when you hear the news that Coach O'Leary is going to step down, he's going to walk away, what was your reaction? Were you surprised? Were you upset? Like, what was your reaction of your teammates when you heard the news that George was going to leave?
I didn't believe it at first until he came in and actually spoke with the team to let us know that he was stepping down. But at first it was just rumors. But once he came in and talked to the team, and I mean, at first I didn't know how to feel because, coming in, George O'Leary, like I said, we started off winning my first year there. So he was an amazing coach. And, to kind of just see him walk away in the middle of the season, I didn't really know how to feel. I didn't know what to expect moving forward either. I didn't know, man, should I transfer or like what's it going to be like? I honestly didn't know how to feel. It was just a lot to take in at the moment.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. So what happens as a team, right? Obviously, Danny Barrett is the interim head coach, right? And I know you guys all want to play hard for him, but you all were smart enough to know that he probably wasn't in the plans long term. So you're playing for a coaching staff that probably won't even be there. At this point, transfers aren't what they are today. You got to sit out a year probably, right, if you want to transfer. So what was kind of going through you and your teammates' mind? What were you all talking about during those final games? And I guess who were the leaders that kind of stepped up and said, hey, we got to try to finish as strong as we can here. It's not perfect, but let's finish strong. Who kind of held everybody together?
We had guys like Sid Thompson, Joey Papulo, guys like those. They was, making sure that we kind of pulled together first as a teammate and as brothers. Like it haven't been the season that we expected, but we at least need to finish. Coach Barrett was the interim head coach, and a lot of guys had a lot of respect for him, and we tried to pull it together to at least win a few games for him, and we came up short. But to talk amongst each other is the guys who come back next year, let's take this as a learning experience and a stepping stone to to get better and make sure that this never happened again. Most definitely not next year. So we just at that moment all we could do is kind of grab onto each other and make sure us as brothers and teammates get stronger, our bond and our relationship and things like that. So those are the type of things we focus on towards the end of the season going into the next season.
So they announced Scott Frost as the next head coach. Did you know much about him when they made the announcement, or what was your first reaction when they named him?
I did not know anything about him, but once I heard his name, I did go look him up. I started watching his film, and I started, just learning different things about him, and I got excited. And I'm like, okay, now we got a player coach coming in, and I was very excited because coming from George O'Leary to a Scott Frost, that's two totally different type of coaches, and Scott Frost was all about, spreading the field and space and getting guys into open space and things like that, allowing them to be able to make plays. So I was very excited once I was able to sit down and do a little research about Coach Frost and, just learn that he was a player coach and things like that. So I was excited going into my senior season.
What was different about? I know the run game had to be a lot different, right? He runs a lot of different options and zones and stuff. Was there a lot of studying you had to do to get ready for that?
Most definitely. It was a completely different game plan with Coach. A completely different playbook. So with George O'Leary, we did a lot of from up under the center. Scott Frost, we were kind of never under the center. It was just like the spread and the option game, things like that. So it was definitely, it took me, studying every night. Every night we had to go over the playbook, the different signals, different calls. And at first it was like, there's no way how we're going to, learn all this. But, once we just start doing it, repetition, and it became like second nature. It was no brainer. It was able to just, go out and do it. You didn't have to think about it. So it was completely different.
Well, obviously the offense changed, but there are a lot of other changes that came with that, which, I don't know, I guess I'm curious your perspective. We went to new uniforms, your name on the back for the first time. They put some more lights in the stadium. They were UCF Fast was kind of the new motto. How important was that stuff to you guys? The uniforms, the names in the jerseys, all that kind of that swagger that Frost brought with him and the changes. How important was that to you guys?
Yeah, that was the part that, that him being a player coach, him being a guy who actually played, on a high level and made it to the NFL and things like that. He understood where, things like the jerseys and the gear and, the different things like that, how that makes a player feel. They always say you look good, you feel good, you play good. So he understood that. And, it was very exciting for us as players, just to get that type of coach there, who was very understanding. He understood what we was going through as players and was able to, put us in a, best predicament and to give us a chance to win all around.
Well, as I was kind of reading up on it, I read an article where you were quoted as saying that when you saw his offense and what he did, you shed the knee brace, you had to shed a couple of pounds here and there. How did you have to change your game and what you did to try to fit in with what it is that his system was?
I didn't really change my game too much. One of the things I did do, I did make sure I got my body fat down. I had got my body fat down to about 9% body fat. So just the workout program, that he had us on and the way we was eating and things like that, that played a huge difference. If you notice with Coach O'Leary, I suffered a lot of injuries. Those first 3 years was a lot of injuries for me, and just going into the Coach Frost era, everything was completely different from the way I was eating, the different workouts, and get myself all around healthy, giving myself a chance to perform at a high level. So it was cool.
Well, take us through that emotion. So obviously it had been a long time, but that first game, South Carolina State, you guys finally put up a victory. What was that emotion like for you? Obviously being there all of 15, you talked about all the down memories. I mean, I know it was the first game of the year. It was against an FCS team, a team that you guys should beat. What were your emotions finally seeing a UCF Knights W on the scoreboard?
It was just like, okay, we back to us now. We back to UCF, to what UCF is, to how it is when I first came in. So I was excited, but I was just, after the game, I was more so focused on the next one. I didn't really get too excited or, too emotional or anything like that. It just felt good to finally be back on the other side, and finally winning. So, and it was a good feeling moving forward. Now we got, we can come in with great spirits and actually get things done the right way.
You had a big game against FIU that year, 3 touchdowns. Was that the best game you ever played?
One of them, I'll say. Yeah, that was a good game. To me, that was another one of those feel-good games. Now I'm starting to set in with the new playbook and the new calls and things like that. And that was one of those confidence games where, it kind of let me know that I'm on the right path. I'm doing the right thing as far as, taking care of my body and studying the playbook and just making sure I'm doing whatever it takes, to give myself a chance.
Yeah, you were really in a rhythm there early. You had 8 touchdowns through the first 5 games. What was it? Was it just a whole different scheme you guys were running? Were you more comfortable back there with the Frost system?
A little bit of both. We were running a different scheme, and I was a lot comfortable. I done shed a lot of weight. I'm feeling stronger, faster, and my confidence is, at an all-time high. So it was just, for me, it was just one of those. And, at this point, I'm a senior now, so I have a lot of experience, and, it's a lot of small details that I was able to pick up on that kind of helped me have that success early on. So I was able to, read the defense and know what they're about to do, and that kind of helped me out a lot.
Well, you mentioned you were a senior, and that year you played with a true freshman quarterback named Mackenzie Milton. Now, we know KZ now to be on the Mount Rushmore of UCF players, but that freshman year, there were some ups and downs. I mean, we all remember him fumbling 6 times against Maryland in his first ever start. But you were upperclassman. What did you say to KZ, the young KZ, as you saw him coming in? You saw the potential, I assume. What did you kind of say to him to try to keep him, under control and help give him that encouragement?
So getting introduced to Mackenzie, I remember we was in practice one time and we had this play call, and it kind of turned into a no play, and he just made something out of nothing. And right then I was like, yeah, he's different, like he's special, but some of the things I just always try to keep him calm, let him know, like, it's just like practice. We practice it all week, just do what you do at practice. Don't try to save the team or be a superhero. Just do what your coach will do, and stay calm and just be you. I always told him that he was special and he was different. So I just always wanted him to be calm and just go through his reads and just be him. But it's tough, a freshman quarterback coming in and playing like that, and it was a lot of emotion, a lot of different things he had to learn and adjust to. So I just tried to make sure that he was comfortable anytime I was back there. Just, to reassure him that, I ain't gonna let nobody touch you. I'm gonna get every block I can pick up before I let him hit you. So I just wanted him to be comfortable at all times, to just give him a chance to be the best player he could be.
Well, you had some pretty young, talented running backs in that room with you too. Adrian Killens was a true freshman. Juwan Hamilton was a true freshman. Taj McGowan, I think, was a sophomore at that point in time. You're the elder statesman. You're the old head in that room. What was it like being around all those young kids? All that speed too, by the way. Those guys had to be super fast.
Right. They made me feel young again. Great. It was a great group of guys. And my biggest thing is being a senior now is one of the things that I didn't get coming in as a freshman. I didn't just have, the older guys kind of showing me the way, telling me the different things that would help me be successful. So my biggest thing was making sure that I taught them everything that I had to learn on my own, just going throughout college and the different seasons. So just being around them, though, it's seeing their speed, and they were very talented. I just always tried to help them out any way that I could. I saw their potential, and when I first met them, just going through drills and different things like that. So I always just tried to help out, be an extra coach when it come to those guys, being that they were so young and they was freshmen.
Well, you can see the team was getting back in the right direction, started winning some games again. But if I told you after that 16 season that team was going to go undefeated the next year, would you have believed me?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. I most definitely believe, because to be honest, my senior year, I think we finished, 4-6 maybe? That year, honestly, it was pretty much the same team, from that year, of course, the freshman that came in who contributed. But other than that, it was pretty much the same team that following year that they went undefeated. And I do feel like, we could have won more games my senior year, but I do understand, as far as, the freshmen coming in and playing, how that's a marketing scheme to get other players to come. It looks like, hey, you can come in as a freshman and play here at UCF. So it was a lot that came with it that, that I didn't understand at the time, but just looking back at it, I understand why, things went the way it went. But I did know that those guys could go undefeated. And we supposed to win more games my senior year, so I knew that was going to happen.
Well, yeah, that's senior year. We could have beat Maryland. We should have beat Temple. The Houston game, we were up on them in the whole first half. There's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sum it up for me. Give me your 4 years at UCF. Describe that whole thing. When you look back on it, what do you think of most?
What do I think of most? That's tough. It was a lot of great moments. It's a lot of great moments. I can't just pinpoint one. But overall, it was a great experience. I met a lot of great people during my time at UCF. The football program was amazing. It was a beautiful experience for me. Like I said, being from Georgia, being able to go down to the Sunshine State, we got beaches and things like that. It was just, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing for me.
What are your thoughts on UCF today? Are you still able to follow the team, and where do you think they are in the next couple of years under Gus Malzahn, and heading to the Big 12, by the way, to a quote-unquote Power 5 conference?
Yeah, I do keep up with the team. I've kept up with them since I've left, and I just feel like they're only going to continue to get better. I feel like, we kind of the change of culture came when I was there, and now that the culture has changed, it's only going to get better. So I like UCF. I like what they're doing. I think they're going to, only going to get better as time goes along.
Are you able to get back to see a bunch of games? I saw on your Instagram you were at the Peach Bowl. Are you able to get back and see a bunch of games?
I haven't, because I've been so busy. I have two little girls and have a family now, so it's been kind of hard to get back with doing entrepreneurship and things like that. So, But the first chance I do, I will be down to catch some games. I just haven't had a chance to right now.
How big a deal do you think the Big 12 conference will be for UCF? Do you think it's a big selling point these days? Now there's NIL stuff, right? There's all this change in college sports. I wasn't there when you were around. How big a deal do you think it is for UCF to finally get in that, that alleged Power 5, structure that everyone has been trying to get into?
Oh, that's huge. That's huge. It's going to come with a lot of, big time recruits and, a lot of facility enhancements and things like that. Just all the resources they need to be successful and continue to get better. So I think that was a great move, and it's going to work out for UCF. All
right. Well, you mentioned you got a family now. What are you up to these days? Are you still involved in football at all? Are you coaching in anything? What are you up to these days?
I'm not coaching. I have a moving company.
Okay.
I have 2 beautiful little girls. So I'm just kind of, just entrepreneurship, building the business and things like that. That's about it.
Awesome. In case anybody listening out there wants to get some quotes from you, what's the name of your moving company?
Takeaway Movers.
Takeaway Movers. There you go. You want to plug in a phone number, a website, or anything for anybody to check out?
Yeah, you can go to takeawaymovers.com and you pull up, you get free quotes or whatever service you need. We anything referring to furniture, anything like that.
What better? Yeah, what better to get moved by one of UCF's greatest running backs of all time? That's fantastic. You've been super grateful for your time so far, but we got a couple of fun questions before we get you out of here. So these could be music, movies, sports. You never know what you're going to get. So are you ready for just some off the wall random questions?
I'm ready.
All right, so it sounded earlier like you were trying to tell us you may be afraid of flying a little bit. Do you have any other phobias, spiders, needles, snakes, any other phobia for the D train?
I hate snakes, and and I hate closed areas. I hate being in closed areas with a lot of people. I'm a little claustrophobic, and I hate snakes. Those are my 2 phobias.
So then you have flying for you must be just torture then, no?
Flying it's easy now. I've flown a lot now, so I'm kind of comfortable with flying. Okay. I mean, I still get on the plane and go to sleep right away, so I think that kind of helps me, get through it.
What's the worst O'Leary outburst you've ever seen?
What do you mean?
Like him just getting on somebody during a game or a practice, with him just attacking some guy for doing something wrong.
Well, it was a time one of the punters, who was doing the drill at practice, and the punter, I guess he had he kind of like muffed a kick, and it probably went like 10 yards. So the next time he went up to kick, O'Leary just kept whacking with one of the bags that we do drills with. Like he just kept whacking him every time. It's like he couldn't even kick it all. He would fall every time. I thought that was so hilarious to me. So that was one of those moments that was pretty funny.
I don't know if you follow basketball, but the NBA Finals are tied 2-2, Game 5 being played right now between Golden State and Boston. Who do you think is going to win the NBA championship, Golden State or Boston?
I want to see the Celtics win it, but I do think that the Warriors going to win. I'm watching the game now, so I do think the Warriors going to win it all, but I would like to see the Celtics win it.
All right, if they were going to make a UCF movie about your time there, what actor is playing Dontravious Wilson?
What actor is playing Dontravious Wilson? That's a good question. That's a good question.
Thank you. So, how tall are you? Do you have to find a guy that your size? Or you trying to find somebody that looks like you?
I'm 5'10". I don't know. I don't really know many actors that could play Dontravious Wilson.
You're gonna play
Michael B. Jordan or something.
He's gonna play himself in the movie. It sounds like.
Say that again.
You gonna play yourself in the movie then?
Yeah, I could most definitely.
Okay, fair enough. Starring role for you in the movie there. Dontravious, what's the hardest you've ever been hit on a football field?
The hardest I've ever been hit on the football field. I'll say it have to. I want to say the Penn State game. I think after one of the plays, I was upside down on my head. Like, I think that was the hardest I ever got hit. The Penn State game when we went to Ireland.
Big news this week: the Knights pub is closing down. Did you guys hang out at the Knights pub?
All the time.
Was that the main spot, or is there another spot you guys were at more?
It was one of them. Really? Like, why is it closing down? Is it going out of business or?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just going out of business.
No, I
don't even think it's the same Knights pub that.
Yes,
was there when we were there.
Somebody bought the land. They're gonna build like apartments or something on it, so it's all getting torn down.
Oh wow. Yeah, that was one of our spots we like to go to.
Was that your go-to on a go-to night? That was your spot, or were you guys more hanging out downtown?
Me personally, I wasn't really hanging out downtown. If I was, to go out, it would be somewhere like pub, or it was this place called I think it was called Mix. Yeah, I think it was called Mix. It was in between those two, but somewhere just around campus. I didn't really go downtown too much. I go every now and then if it was something big going on. But other than that, I just pretty much like to just hang out and around the people that I want to be around. And, I don't really like being around a lot of people, so I didn't really hang out a lot as far as going out downtown.
All right, if I give you a do-over and you could have redshirt your 2015 season to play in 2017, would you have done it?
Most definitely. It was definitely taken into consideration. That's what I wanted. When I got hurt the first game, I wanted a red shirt, but Coach O'Leary, he didn't give it to me, so I just had to tough it out and do whatever I could do.
All right, I tell you, somebody's going to make you a nice meal for dinner, and you get to pick the dessert. What dessert are you picking?
I'm going with either some strawberry shortcake or apple pie ice cream.
Nice.
Can't beat those. Those are two staples of Americana. Dontravious, man, we appreciate you taking so much time and sharing your UCF stories with us. Thanks for everything you did on the field. You were a part of so many important teams. Those important seasons you were a part of. You said it earlier, helped to build the foundation of where UCF is today. So I know we're all indebted to guys like you who put the hard work in to get UCF to where they are now. So just a big thanks for everything, man. We appreciate you coming on, and hopefully we can catch up with you real soon. Okay.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys having me.
Okay, sons of UCF, both of you, you are the father.
Now let's close up shop, Mike. Cow of the week. First off, Dontravious Wilson. Fantastic to catch up with him. Mike, I'm so glad. What's cool about the interview sometimes is we talk to one guy, and it triggers our memories on like, oh, hey, remember that guy from that team and that guy from that team? And then it reminds us to maybe reach out and find some other guys to talk to. So glad to get Dontravious on. Obviously, he was a part of a lot of good seasons at UCF. I thought his answer about if he would trade 15 for 17, he didn't even hesitate on that one, Mike. So it was good to catch up with Dontravious.
Very good. He was part of some really good teams, championship teams his first couple years, and he was there for that dreaded 15 season, but then saw the change in the whole UCF program in 16, and this is a guy who's once a night, always a night. He was only a night all 4 years, so good to have a conversation with him this week.
Awesome. And if you missed any of our conversations with all of our past guests, Mike, and there are a lot of them, we're probably like over 100 guys we've talked to at this point, players, coaches, administrators, athletes, everybody in between. Always go to our website, twonightsmedia.com. You can catch up with all those old conversations. Cow of the week, though, Mike, we make fun of something cow-related because we like to make fun of the cows. So who caught your eye this week for cow?
Well, this has been building now for a couple weeks. And I think I've mentioned it before on this show when Trace tried to get me to explain a cryptocurrency sponsor that we had.
Yep.
But, people bought into this Bitcoin. People bought into this cryptocurrency. And now You're all a bunch of cows. You fell for the Ponzi scheme.
The crypto
pyramid.
bros are coming after you. Uh-oh.
Yeah, they're going to come after me, but they got no money to come after me with. I checked this thing about 3 times today, and I don't even have any Bitcoin, but I do check it, just to see what's going on, see what I'm missing out on. Maybe I had a little FOMO a couple months ago, but now I'm sitting back just looking at my money in the bank and saying, I am so happy I never got into this. Bitcoin, which was once at $64,000, down to 21. And by the time I wake up tomorrow, it'll probably be under 20,000. People must be. How are you explaining this to your wife or something? You put, hey, honey, I got this great idea. I'm going to take my money. I'm taking it out of the banks, and I'm going to put it in this computer money that people are just making up. There's thousands of different kinds. You can't really see it. But don't worry, everything's going to be fine. We're going to be rich in a couple weeks. And now, boom, you're broke. Do I feel bad for these people? I don't know. But I'm having a good time watching the number come down, and you never know. If it gets low enough, I may jump it.
There we go.
Then you get me.
Mike is back.
Then you get me.
I actually owned I owned a little Litecoin for a hot minute there, and I didn't put a whole ton in it. I put like less than $1,000 in there. Ended up getting, I don't know, like 250 over what I wanted and sold out like 3 years ago. And I've always been thinking about getting back in, but every time I would look at it, it would go up and go down. I'm like, I can't live in this kind of yo-yo. I just can't live my life that way. So I've stayed away, and I feel happy about that now.
Yeah, I can't imagine how much I'd be checking it if I actually did have money in it. My wife put like $500 in for Bitcoin probably last year, and now she's under. I think she got in maybe when it was like 32, something like that. So she's losing money now. At the time, she was looking at me like I'm
you're losing money now. That's what's happening, buddy.
Well, yeah, but she was looking at me like, how come we're not putting the kids' college fund into this? And now, I mean, I just send her the updates and laughing at her all the time. Good thing we didn't go heavy on this thing a year ago. So, buy the dip, and the thing is dipping right now. So I'm going to wait till this thing dips all the way down.
Okay. So Mike is anti-crypto until he can make some money off it, and then Mike is very pro cryptocurrency. Yeah, all this stuff's like it's stock markets, it's investments. All this stuff is super speculative. There's never really a sure thing. I mean, I guess the professionals will tell you that there's trends and there's rhythms that you can like learn and understand, but it's all a crapshoot. No one knows what the hell they're talking about.
Real estate will always go up.
Will it though, or is it, there's a bubble coming soon, Mike?
Yeah, it's going to come down, but in the long term, there's only so much land in the world. If you own some of it, you're in good shape.
I like. Let me fact check that. We don't have our research department here with us tonight, but I will fact check. There's only so much land in the world. Mike, my cow of the week. I got a couple options we were talking about. I'm gonna go with Tyreek Hill. Are you familiar with Tyreek Hill?
I do know the man, but I don't know where you're going with it.
Great. So he was on a podcast. I don't know what it was called. The Truth. Oh no, hold on. What the hell is this thing called? It was on a podcast. It Need to Be Said. I'm sorry. The podcast was called It Needs to Be Said. And the host asked him about comparing quarterbacks. Obviously, he previously played for the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, now plays for the Dolphins and Tua Tagovailoa. And he was basically asked to compare quarterbacks. And here's what he said, quote, obviously, I'm like going to go with Mahomes as the strongest arm. But as far as accuracy-wise, I'm going with Tua all day, added Hill. So Tyreek Hill is essentially saying that Tua is a better quarterback, more accurate quarterback than Patrick Mahomes, Mike.
He had to find something nice to say about his guy.
He had to, yeah. And this is where he wins. Right? He's more accurate than Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, he's more accurate.
Do you believe that?
Well, I mean, Mahomes does have the Super Bowl ring, so he's got that on him. Mahomes obviously a much better player, but is his accuracy that great? Did Hill kind of make Mahomes a little bit? I mean, all you have to do is get him on a screen pass, and the guy takes off for 70 yards. So,
well, let's examine how does he know that Tua is accurate? He's seen him in like shorts and a t-shirt throwing at OTAs when there's nobody around him, there's nobody covering him, like there are people like jogging. That's how what's Tua's accuracy going to be on like 3rd and 7 when the Patriots are blitzing up the middle? You know what I mean? Like, are we sure we want to declare this already that Tua's more accurate? Maybe we should play a couple games first. I don't know.
Tua has been an accurate quarterback. Going back to college, he was very accurate at Alabama. He doesn't have the strongest arm, as we saw earlier this off season when they put out that video of him throwing the ball to Tyreek Hill, and he had to wait for it and come back for it, even though there was no defense on being played. He doesn't have the strongest arm, but I give him a little bit accurate. I don't know how accurate Mahomes is. I mean, he'll throw a behind the back pass accurately sometimes. I don't know how he does it, but overall, I probably haven't watched the Chiefs as much as most people to give you a good evaluation on that.
Yeah, Mahomes is sloppy-er. He takes more chances with the ball, right? He'll be on the run and throw it like with a flick of the wrist kind of stuff, which, doesn't always lead to, the most pinpoint of accuracy. But I mean, he seemed to have survived with that. Mike, I've got a bonus cow of the week really quickly if you've got a moment. So every now and again, I get tagged in these Twitter polls where it's like which stadium is better and who's got better hot dog, whatever these things are, right? And so the Sons of UCF account, we got tagged in this stadium vote poll situation, and we've been going against a bunch of stadiums and yada yada yada. Well, we got matched up against Cincy, so it was the Bounce House versus Nippert Stadium, and so. Literally, Mike, I would go away from my Twitter for 20 minutes and come back to it, and I would be in 92 mentions of people fighting back and forth between UCF and Cincinnati fans and everything from stadium to I mean, you name it. These people are literally, I could not leave my Twitter account without some form of 20 plus notifications every single solitary time. Everybody arguing about everything, and all because of a stadium vote. And there's these two guys just going back and forth for a good 3 days, and I've got to find a way to get out of these conversations, Mike, because somehow I get tagged in these and I'm stuck in there forever. So I appreciate the banter, stadium truthers, but 92 comments later, it's okay. It'll be all right. It's the off season.
I don't know how people have the energy to fight with opposing fans so much on the internet. Our fans get on my nerves sometimes, and we like the same team. Every once in a while, I get dragged into a conversation with a cow or a little trash talking with a gator, but that's about it. I've never really gotten into it with a Cincinnati fan or any other fan in our conference or any other teams we're playing. Not even Miami fans. I don't even get into it at all. But the internet, I mean, one, you have nothing else going on in your life to be able to have all these conversations going on with all these other fan bases all the time. And it's got to be exhausting and doesn't make it any more fun. And nobody has ever convinced a fan of another team
yes.
that you're right.
Yes.
Never have I seen one of these conversations come to an end and say, well, you know what? You
My
brought up
bad.
some good points. You changed my mind.
Right.
No, it all ends with you're an ass. You're an idiot. You don't know what the heck you're talking about. All right, let's do this whole conversation again next week about something else stupid.
Yes. Correct. There's never once been you know what, you win this one. My fault. Yeah, you've got me on that one. No, it never ends well. And I mean, I love the engagement, right? It's cool that people are interested and want to be a part of these conversations and care about these schools or whatever. But it's a bridge to nowhere at this point, Mike.
Yeah.
Much like this. Much like
Sure.
much like the bridge from the sand to the parking lot that I want to build.
Oh, baby powder. Try it out.
You put it on your skin? Is that what you do?
I guess. I don't think you throw it on the sand. Yeah, you throw it on your feet.
Uh-huh.
You throw it on your feet, and then when you step on the sand, it doesn't stick anymore.
But then, so if I go in the ocean, and then I got to reapply?
I guess, and the baby powder is not going to stay on you for life.
No.
You're going to have to put some more on at some point. You don't have to do it every time. You just before you get in the car. You don't want to get sand in the car, right? Is that a big thing? Or you just don't want to have sand on you at all?
I mean, as long as I can get the sand off me, I'm fine. That's the thing. It's much like anything else in my life. If it gets on me, I want it to get off me, and I want it to be able to easily get it off me without any additional effort or any issues. And yes, you're right. I don't want to have sand all over my car, all over my house, all over my couch, all over every other part. Luckily, it was a hotel, so what do I care? But it was everywhere. It's still everywhere. I still found sand the other day in my garage.
Yeah, it's never going away. That's impossible.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we live in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of beaches around here. It's a fun thing to do. A lot of people enjoy going to the beach. So I would suggest try out this baby powder thing. Next time you go, throw some on your feet before you go and see if it works while you're there.
Before I go, see if it works. Okay, I will give that a shot. You're a guy who likes the beach and all things beach oriented. What's the deal with sunscreen? I see some people who put the sunscreen on and they don't rub it in. So they've got basically like they've lacquered themselves all white. They almost look like they have like face or body paint on. Is that the way that works? I feel like that's not how that works.
The guy that puts like the big white nose on.
Yeah, there was one guy who literally like almost like painted his face like he was wearing like a hockey mask. And I was like to my wife, I'm like, is that how that works? I didn't think that's how that works. I thought you had to rub it in. And she's like, no, I think there's some that you just, I'm like, it looks like one of those like things you go to the spa and you get the mask on, right? For the wrinkles and whatnot. It looked like he was wearing one of those. And I didn't know that, I don't know if that's a thing or not. I didn't want to ask the guy. I actually saw a Knights fan here, by the way, while I was there. But I didn't want to ask the guy, like, hey, what's going on with your face? So I didn't.
I'm sure it's probably more effective to have that thick of a layer on. But who the heck wants to look like the guy that, has that stuff all over their face? You got to rub it in, and it'll still do its job. And you're gonna have to reapply again in a couple hours, especially if you go in the water or you rinse off. You spray yourself down again, and you're good for a while. I'm always telling you got to rub that. You got to get that off. You can't make me look like I'm a ghost walking around the beach.
Mike just said you got to rub that. This is all I need to hear. That's good feedback, though. That's good advice. Yeah, this guy looked foolish. There was a Knights fan there, so I was walking around. I had my son's UCF hat on, and I got to go Knights from him. And I tried to catch up with him later, but he's with his family. I didn't want to walk over and interrupt. He looked like they were having a good time. So shout out to whoever was at the South Seas Resort this last week, and nice to meet you.
They saw the Suns hat, but he didn't know anything about it. He didn't know what the Suns are.
Well, he hit me with the Go Knights, so he clearly knew something. I don't know if he put two and two together. Yeah, I don't know if he put two and two together and thought, hey, I wonder if that's the guy from the show. If he's ever heard of the show, I don't really know, Mike.
He probably knew exactly who you were and didn't want to be that guy that is the stalker guy.
Yeah, to be fair, I was in the cabana. He was in the regular seats, of course. So I don't know. I don't know if he didn't want to interrupt and come over or whatever. But there was a time we were near in the pool, but he was with his wife and his daughter, and they were talking about something, so I didn't want to interrupt.
He probably said, "Look at this hotshot guy with his Gordon and Partners sponsorship in his cabana."
Yeah.
I don't want to bother him.
I'm a fan
too
in
much
there.
money for me.
There's a marathon of the MTV show Catfished on. Ever seen Catfished?
I know of it because of Manti Te'o.
Very good, yes.
But I remember the show. I don't remember why. I maybe watched one or two when it was out. It's still on?
It's still on. Well, there's a marathon on this past week, and so we caught like 9 in a row. It's unbelievable these people fought for this. Like, you haven't seen him in 9 years. I mean, at some point, you've got to know. I understand there's more psychology involved, but it's just fascinating. The human condition.
Oh, man. Yeah, people believe anything.
Well, they believe you and I know how to put a podcast together, and I don't know if we proved them right or wrong on this particular episode, but we appreciate you all for joining in for our fun again. It's the summer. We're trying to do some fun stuff, and we know you got a lot going on, but you're still mowing the lawn, you're still going to the beach, going to the pool, you want to listen to UCF stuff. We will get you through that long summer. Don't forget also Thursdays, we go live. You can see us without the sunscreen on, 8 p.m. on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So check us out there, Mike. Everybody have a fantastic week. Everybody be safe, take care of each other, and we will talk to everybody soon. Till then, Mike, go Knights.
Sure, John.